Hey, J-Bone Nation! Shaming of Jay. He's not a dopey dumb bitch. He gets laid. The court jester. The court DJ. It's time to dive into the case. To the case.
What's up, guys? Long time no see. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. I'll tell you right now that Court TV has a feed up, but it hasn't started. It has a countdown for 3 minutes. There's a website that has the actual feed up right now, but it specifically has a stamp that says "Do not record." So I'm just waiting for hopefully any second now. The Court TV feed will go live. The timer now says 3 minutes. Thanks, Steve O, for sending me the link for the other feed. I'll show you what I got here, guys. And thanks for being here. And I should start by saying, I mean, this entire most of our trials are like trigger warnings. This particular trial is a major trigger warning, so just be aware of that. They're not going to show everything. They've already made that clear, but just a heads up. All right, so let me make sure I got this set up right. And I think I may have just put this up on YouTube. I apologize for I set it up. Tomorrow I should have it on all the streaming sites. So there we are. As you can see, 2 minutes this thing should go live on Court TV. And it's a separate live feed, which is good. Let me see if they have it on their actual YouTube. That would be great. But somehow I doubt it. By the way, I am home alone here and I have the dog. So if you see me turn off the camera, it's because I got to let the dogs in and out because they're a pain in my buttocks. No, of course, Court TV does not have it on their regular page. Why would they have it on there? So let's go back over here. 1 minute and 43 seconds. All right, who do we got here? Let me take a look. Lily, Paulie, Catherine, Todd, Bonnie Bailey, Steve is here, Drenda is here, or was, Deanna Robinson, Elizabeth L., Debbie, Kim, Charlotte, Donnie, I think I said, but I don't remember. Lady Bird, Trish Norman, Shelly, Mooney. Thanks for being here, everyone. Missy, Susan H., Sky Troop, Nora, Mia, Dane Mama, Mike, Afy, Rabbit, Sarah, Tashi, Joanne, Sarah, Tony, Cece, Cami Q. You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Hello, Spring Kim. Good to see you. The Dizster is here. I think Phil is here. Tayo Toys, Angela. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. Patty C, Southern Charmed, Amanda. Come on, let's start this feed so I don't have anxiety. Well, I'm going to have anxiety anyway, but I'll show you real quick. This is already, but nothing's going on. But as you can see, big sign, do not record. I really don't want to get a strike on this. So let's just, if anyone knows on YouTube, if anyone is actually streaming this, let me know. But I don't think so because this is their YouTube, and I don't see a live feed. So I'm just going to, let's start this bad boy. Come on, Court TV. Don't screw us. Don't give me a Tunkle rant. I don't want to do a Tunkle rant right now. By the way, we might have a guest tonight, folks, so just look out for that. Donna's here. Say hey, Donna. Yes, we will be sharing justice for Kathleen Henry, Veronica Abochuk, and all the missing and murdered Indigenous women. I got to make remind me, mods. I got to make a prompt for that website. Oh, we have.
And the defendant is on those videos. The defendant, you'll hear him speak in an interview, a very, very lengthy interview with police detectives, but he has a very distinct accent. He's from South Africa. He speaks British English, if you will, as opposed to American English. And it's a heavy accent, and it's incredibly unique. On that video, she hears him. He has a distinct build. She recognizes his truck. So she's sitting there with this phone, and Valerie's a street person. She has had run-ins with the law. She doesn't know what to do with this phone. She ultimately shows it to a friend. She gets an SD card. She puts an SD card in the phone and copies the videos from the phone onto that SD card. From the cyber technicians at APD, you'll learn that that copying likely happened on September 24th, 2019. And then Valerie goes to her therapist, Dr. Thornquist, who encourages her to call the police. And he actually places the 911 call while she waits. On September 29th, 2019, Dr. Thornquist makes that call. Valerie waits. She produces that SD card to Officer Emerson. You'll meet Officer Jack Emerson. She's taken to the police station where she discloses at first finding the SD card. She's not honest. She doesn't say that she stole his phone. She says, I found this SD card outside somewhere. How she came into it is so much less important than what's on it. But she later admits that she got the card from the defendant, that she stole it from his truck, and then even later admits that she stole the whole phone. But at the time, she turns over the SD card to the police. And then you'll see these images. You'll see the defendant strangling Kathleen. You'll see that he kicks her in the vagina. You'll see that he steps on her throat. You'll see that he steps on her stomach, puts his whole weight on her stomach as the air goes out of her. He fondles her. He pinches her nipples. He pokes her in the eye. It's about 25 minutes worth of video. I'm being really intentional about what gets shown on the camera, but you'll see Kathleen Jo Henry with the defendant's foot on her throat. You'll see Kathleen Jo Henry with the defendant's hand around her neck. And as he's strangling her, he's saying some of the most vile.
So you know how the Troconis trial has an interpreter for Michelle? Apparently this court has an interpreter for a fucking robot. What is this audio?
Things that you'll hear. Come on, Jesus, fuck, bitch, just do it. Just take it. As he's squeezing and releasing, he says, you live, you die. You live, you die. He's playing almost a cat and mouse game with her. Sadly, in my movies, everyone dies. He's narrating these videos as if he's talking to an audience. Jesus, just fucking die. I'm tired. Don't you respect a goddamn fucking human being? He gets upset at one point about her bleeding on his hand as he's strangling her. Says she's probably going to give him hepatitis D, E, F, and G. What the fuck was my worst thing about you? He's narrating this video. They're in multiple segments over about 25 minutes. And in this very, very distinct accent. He's careful not to show his face. But you can tell it's him from the voice. You don't have hours in it, so you can compare the voice. But from those videos, the officers developed the suspect. Detectives Cordy and Bell recognized the defendant's truck and his voice and come to his name. The scene is determined to be the Midtown Marriott, again by the setting. There's some photos outside that show a luggage cart showing him loading Kathleen Jo Henry into the back of his truck and the carpet in the Marriott. And the videos you'll hear from the cyber technicians at APD were created just after midnight on September 4th, 2019. This is one of those photographs. This is one of the more tame ones. As you can tell, there's a lump on the bottom of the SD card or on the bottom of the luggage cart. That's Kathleen Joe Henry's body. That's the defendant's truck next to the left of the luggage cart. When the police, it's a distinct black Ford Ranger. It's got a light colored canopy on it. This is a photograph from the search warrant of his truck. There's another photograph from behind of the luggage cart on the SD card that shows a partial plate with 87 on it. His license plate is FSL 878. It's his truck. You'll learn that the defendant worked for the Marriott and he used his employee ID to rent a room for September 2nd through September 4th, 2019. The general manager from the Marriott's going to come and testify about this record that has him staying there September 2nd through September 4th. He's got 2 keys to the Marriott in his truck from that stay. He also has in the video, though he kept his face out of the video, those are his shoes. The image on the right is the shoes that he was wearing when he was taken into custody by police on October 2019. The same shoes, even though you don't see his face. It's clear that it's him. They match the shoes taken off him when interviewed by police. After the police develop Mr. Smith as a suspect, they obtain a warrant and start viewing his phone and seeing where he'd been based on his AT&T records after the 4th. And they have him going out to Turnagain Arms on September 6th, 2019, where he dumped Kathleen Henry's body at mile 108.5. You'll hear from Eric Perry. He's with the FBI, and he did a lot of the phone notes in this case that can tell you about some of the mapping that he did. And then you'll see Kathleen Henry's body where it's recovered. This is some drone footage, but there are 2 railroad employees that you'll hear from, George Strickler and Mike Harris, were doing what's called ditching, where they're on the tracks and clearing the ditch right to the right of they're on both sides of the tracks when they found her body. You'll see this drone footage among others to kind of give you some perspective on the Seward Highway where it is. That big motorhome up top is the APD's homicide van, essentially, where they collect evidence and process evidence. That turnoff is known as like the rainbow sighting, if you know where like the rainbow trailhead is at mile 105. That's that part of the way. The embankment right below the motorhome is very, very steep. Kathleen Joe Henry's body is examined by the state medical examiner. At this point, we have not put an identity to the remains or an identity to the person on the video. But Dr. Norman Thompson is able to determine that the cause of death is asphyxiation by suicide. He's reviewed the video, he's reviewed the investigation. He also did a full medical forensic examination post-mortem. The manner of death is homicide. As Kathleen Joe Henry's identity is developed as a potential remains, her medical records and dental records were collected and sent to Dr. Lauren Gagliano. She's a dentist that does forensic odontology for the medical examiner's office. She compared her dental records to that of the body found at 108.5 at the Seward Highway and determined that it is Kathleen Joe Henry. So all this happens right around, August 2nd, or kind of time frame that these developments are taking place. An identification is made. At that point, the defendant is in Washington, D.C. He's on a vacation with his wife. The APD works with the FBI to surveil Mr. Smith while he's in D.C. and develop a plan. They want to talk to him, they want to talk to his wife separately. And all of that happens on October 8th. On October 8th, his wife is set to stay in DC. He's going to fly home. 2 APD officers go separately down to DC and talk with her there. And a team of people meet him at the airport here in Anchorage. You're going to meet Detective Lee as the case detective putting all this together. He's part of that interview along with Detective Jeff Bell. There's other teams of folks at APD that are doing crime scene work. They had a search warrant for the defendant's residence. They had previously completed a search warrant at the Marriott. They also searched his truck that day in his office at Marriott. So October 8th, as far as the collection of evidence, is going to be a big day that you hear about. And you're going to hear a lot about the defendant's interview at the airport. He talks for a really long time. There's some redactions that you'll hear, mostly just for time, some for legal reasons, but mostly because 8 hours of an interview is 2 full trial days. You'll probably hear about 5 hours of his interview, though, probably a full day of watching and discuss what had happened with the police. Regarding Kathleen Joe Henry, it's about the first 3.5, 4 hours of that interview. He admits, he's ultimately shown screenshots of the video and played portions of the video, and he admits that it's him on the video. He denies memory of the event, though. He says it's his voice, he says it's his truck, he admits that he stays at the hotel, but I don't remember doing that. I don't remember doing that. What he does say is that he found the body of Kathleen Joe Henry in his truck the next morning. He didn't know what to do, and so he drove around with it for 2 days before he dumped the body where she was found. He hid the bedding separately because he didn't want to be caught, and he cleaned the back of his truck. You'll see the receipts and cleaning supplies for that. That's his story for the first large chunk of the interview. But the officers showed him videos. They showed him the photographs, and he knows at that point that he's dead to rights on these charges regarding Kathleen Joe. And there's a break in the interview. The police are actually done interviewing him at this point. They're going to execute a search warrant, which means they're going to swab him for DNA, take photographs of his body, collect his clothes, and they're going to be done and process him. Takes a bathroom break, and you're going to hear from Alaska State Trooper David Chapman, one of the people who escorts him to the bathroom. And on that bathroom break, the defendant says to Officer Chapman, "I'm going to make you guys famous." They go back in the interview room, and the defendant says to Detective Lee and Detective Bell, "You guys in a rush to go home?" Are you guys in a rush? "I know I'm going to burn already," is what he says. And then he confesses to the killing of Veronica Abachuk. And the interview about that portion is shorter. It's still several hours long, but the things he said are very specific that allow the police to then, during the search warrant of his house, find pretty substantial evidence that corroborate the murder of Abachuk. So this confession, you're gonna hear the video yourself. I'm gonna read you part of what he said about killing her and why he killed her. "I picked her up and I said, 'Hey, you want some warm food and a warm place to sleep tonight?' And she was like, 'Yeah, sure.' She jumped in, but she was really drunk. She was slurring, and I took her home, and she fell asleep on the couch in front of the TV. And she was smelling, and I knew she was homeless. And then, she was stinking. And I was getting upset, and I said to her, 'Go take a shower,' because there's a smell in the house. There's definitely a smell that there was a homeless person in the house." And she wouldn't do it. She kept telling me, no. And I was worried that she's going to vomit now, because then I realized that she'd really been drinking a lot. No excuse, but I had also been drinking. And I don't remember, I can't visualize this girl, but I went to the garage and I got my little pistol and I said to her, "Go to the shower." And she wouldn't. And I just did that. And Detective Lee says, while she was on the couch, he says, "Yeah, I just did that. I just shook." The messed up thing I can tell you, honestly, there was no emotion. I was just, "You're not listening to me. Go shower. You're not listening to me, And I knew that the longer she stays, the worse trouble I'm going to get in with Stephanie. She's going to stink up the place if she vomits on the carpet. So that's a shooting on the head in his home in the basement. He then goes on later in the interview and admits to the misconduct involving a corpse. Here I hear about a girlfriend of his named Alicia Youngblood, tangentially, but he says, so actually, I did lie to you about those pictures I showed Alicia. They were real ones. Of what, says Detective Lee? Of her. I did have a photo of me trying to stick my fingers into her vagina. Yeah. So that was a real photo of you doing that to the person you shot? Was that before or after you shot her? After. So this is his confession at the airport in conference room. And at this point, the police don't know who Veronica Abichuk is. And you're going to meet now Captain Bianca Cross. She was a sergeant in charge of homicide at that time. And she's with the team outside listening to this interview, and they're racking their brains about what other murdered women do we have that fit this description. And they're coming up with photos. And they bring, I think, 3 of them to show the defendant. He's shown a series of photos of murdered and missing Indigenous women, and he selects Veronica's photo. He admits that he dumped her body off the old Glen Highway near the equipment power plant. He tells the police that's where she was. And lo and behold, remains had been found at that area on April 10th, 2019. Likely tomorrow, you're going to meet a gentleman named Con Mees. Him and his friend Kieran Chow were out berry picking and came across. So those remains back in April are sent to a forensic anthropologist because the medical examiner doesn't know who they are. And the forensic anthropologist can tell you potential race, potential gender, but they're not able to make an ID because they don't have anything to ID it against. But now we have the photo of Veronica Abichuk. We have her missing persons report from her family. They're able to marry the two up. So the state medical examiner, after the defendant's confession, you're going to hear from Dr. Kristen Rolfe. She's going to talk about there's a clear circle where the gunshot entered, and there's also some small remains of metal inside of the skull. The skull had been out so long, there's no tissue associated with it. But there is a gunshot where the defendant said he shot her, and there's pieces of metal inside of her skull. So gunshot to the head, the manner of death is homicide. And then again, we use the same forensic odontologist, Dr. Kathleen, and she identifies what remains as Veronica Abichuk, again, through dental records that she acquired in the course of her life. So we've identified Veronica Abichuk. He's admitted to killing Veronica Abichuk. The police have the remains. Where he said, he actually drove out with Detective Lee and Detective that night and showed them, which is exactly the location where Mr. Mead said she was found. So there's a search warrant of the defendant's residence that's happening simultaneous to this long interview that's happening at the airport. And in that search warrant at the defendant's residence, there are videos of Veronica Abichuk that are uploaded. They're on a thumb drive. They've been deleted, but are able to be recovered. And they show Veronica before the murder. She is very intoxicated. She's laying on the couch. She's on her side. The defendant does show his face. He's trying to pull her pants down, but there's not like a lot happening. She pushes him away. Afterwards, though, there's a photograph of her on the ground, and it's a video, and it's a very, very short video. It shows the defendant's face.
Guys, regarding the audio, this is the feed that's going out to everyone. Our only hope is that Court TV is like, that by tomorrow Court TV is like, fix your shit, guys. But I don't have a lot of faith in Court TV, so there's nothing I could do. This is the only feed. Everyone who is from the same feed. I wish I could fix it.
And then it shows her body, and she's naked. She's got a bra And her head is covered with a towel that appears to have blood on it. And this is the defendant's living. So there's these very short video clips. Unlike the Henry video, the defendant shows his face in this video. But because the images have been deleted, it's difficult for the folks to tell when they were taken. But based on the information that's on that thumb drive, and then you'll hear from Detective Brandon Hunter, who actually does some work reviewing the.
Someone get this judge some coffee. That's the third big freaking yawn from this judge. He needs to take a snoozle or something.
Images in the TV in the background, like the old-fashioned police work, like what's happening on TV. It's a speech that President Trump was giving, and there's a ticker about the Ebola virus on the bottom. And from that, he's able to determine that the likely date of this homicide is August 16th through 18th, 2018, based on the information on the thumb drive, as well as kind of what's going on the live TV in the background. So, and that comports with Veronica's family last seeing her in July of 2018, and then her remains being found the next April. We can narrow that date down. What the state never has to prove is the exact date. And so that's why you'll hear the time range in her charge, 2017 or 2018. The defendant wasn't sure exactly when he killed her. He initially thought it was 2017, but this is the evidence that we have. So there's a search warrant at the defendant's residence. I showed you the photograph of Veronica laying there right in front of this red couch. Carpet is seized from kind of where that ball is, a little bit to the left. The crime scene team tests it, and there's presumptive blood on the carpet. They send that to the FBI crime lab for later DNA processing and confirmation that it was in fact blood. And the blood on the carpet matched from that. He had cleaned it clearly, but you're going to hear from Cara Gregor. She's with the FBI crime lab. She'll testify about that match for Veronica Abichuk's blood on the defendant's carpet. You'll see the carpet, you'll meet Ms. Gregor, and hear that evidence. The other thing that the defendant confessed to is when he killed Ms. Abichuk, he used a small green .22. This gun was recovered at his house, matching the description. Also recovered at his house is the silencer on the right. It's an oil filter wrapped in duct tape that can be used to silence the sound of a weapon. There's a second silencer, homemade silencer, made of PVC pipe and some material inside of it that's found in his truck. All of these corroborate the death of Veronica Abichuk. So I want to summarize by talking about the evidence and witnesses, what I expect that you'll hear over the next few weeks, just kind of in groups as opposed to by names. But you're going to hear from a number of APD detectives. These detectives interviewed witnesses, interviewed the defendant, gathered physical evidence. You're going to hear from the crime scene team at the Anchorage Police Department. They're a specialized team that goes out and processes things like the Marriott Hotel, the defendant's residence, the truck. There's a revolving team of about 5 people at any given time that are on duty to respond 24/7 to process crime scenes. You're going to hear from the cybercrime technicians, Brandon Hunter, Angela Worthy. They processed a ton of data. There's a lot of SD cards, phones, and computer hardware taken from the defendant's residence. That's not relevant. You're going to hear mostly about that thumb drive, about the SD card that Valerie Kassler turned in. But you'll also hear about the defendant's cellular devices, those kinds of things from the cybercrime folks. You're going to hear from the state medical examiners, Dr. Norm Thompson and Dr. Chris Earl, and about causing that. You're going to hear from the forensic odontologist. You're going to hear from the FBI lab analyst, Cara Gregor. You're going to hear from the FBI cell phone analyst, Eric Perry. And you're going to hear from a number of civilians. You're going to hear from Valerie Kassler. She turned in the SD card. You're going to hear from some of the defendant's friends. a friend whom he called in late to work for the day after Kathleen Jones's murder, for the day of the 4th, wasn't able to get to work. With that. And at the end of our time together, probably 3 weeks to get through this list of witnesses and this type of evidence, you will all carry the burden of knowledge. I'm sorry that you will carry the burden of this heavy, heavy knowledge, but I'm going to ask you to convict the defendant of everything he's charged with. Thank you.
Defense may make an opening statement now, or you may reserve till later.
Much clear.
Yeah, that's fine.
Again, guys, this is the only feed around, so I hope they fix it by tomorrow. What a mess.
Screen to be up. You need the screen to be up.
I do not.
Can we turn it up? When you're ready.
Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. The state presents this as an open and shut case. Got DNA evidence, got a confession, got videos, got medical exam. Open and shut. And we're so sorry that we're making you sit through all of this. But really what they have is a video came of very questionable and still largely unknown origin. And an investigation that spawned from that video to try to reverse engineer a crime based on what they think they saw on the video, and produced a whole lot of evidence they want to interpret in a way that bolsters their video. One thing begets another, but ultimately doesn't add up to it. So let's start with the video. Now, the state said the videos initially came to them on an SD card from, quote unquote, a character, Valerie Kessler. Valerie Kessler contacted the police through a doctor, a therapist, said, hey, you know, I was wandering downtown by the Marriott in Midtown, sorry. And I just happened to, on the sidewalk, oh my God, see an SD card. And, you know, I found one of those before. It had like 325 songs on it. It was very important to her. I found one before. It had 325 songs on it. So I thought maybe this one's got 325 songs on it too. So I picked it up, put it in my phone. Oh my God, what I saw. You need to come look at this. So the police, obviously, when they're told, hey, I've got a video of what I think is a murder, they look for it. So she then talks to them again. A couple days later, they said, sure you found that way? She's like, yeah, I swear to God. I swear to God, that's how I found it. They produce a map. They say, hey, where did you find it? She circles it on the map. This is where I found it. Found this SD card on the ground. I found one in the past, had 325 songs on it. And so I found this one, and it had these videos on it. Swears to God, creates the map, draws on the map. All untrue. All completely untrue. So then she says, you're right, that is untrue. What happened is, guy.
The hell is that? Oh, there he is. The man, the mystery. What's up, guys? Publicly Buzzed.
What's up,
Steve is
man?
here. Thanks for joining us. You ready to check this out? This audio is
That's right.
atrocious. I'm warning you. I don't know if you heard already, but
Dude, I was listening on my drive home, and it was brutal.
yeah, it's rough. So sorry, guys. Everyone's freaking out about the sound. That was I downloaded crazy realistic door knocking. So I hope you guys like that. Here we go.
I like the other one.
That one's too loud. That would really
Guy
scare me.
picked me up. This guy I recognize from the video. He picked me up, and he wanted to go on a date. He picked me up around 10:30, and he said, "You want a date?" I said, "Sure." So we drive around back behind the Sullivan Arena, talk for a few minutes, decide to do the date. So he's going to go to a Shell station, to an ATM, get out some money, and have the date. But we got there. He went in to use the ATM. I just saw this SD card on the dashboard. And so I picked it up because, hey, there might be something on it. About 11 o'clock, he dropped me off. We were done. I left. He couldn't get any money, so I was done. Whole thing took about a half hour, 10:30 to 11 o'clock at night. Then she put the SD card in her phone, calls the doctor called the police. And so that's where she left it for years. That conversation happened in 2019. Then you're going to hear a couple days ago, she's subpoenaed for trial. She's going to have to come in and testify now, under oath. Now, she says, "Oh, you mean about the guy that killed Kathleen Henry?" She's clearly been following the case. "Yeah, I was with that guy for like 18 hours. We've gone now from a half hour to 18 hours. And in her initial statements, she said she'd been sober for 6 months. Now she's saying, "I was high the whole time." And you know what, officers? During those 18 hours I was with him, he admitted to killing Veronica Abachuk, who was somebody I knew. Now, mind you, she gave 2-3 statements in 2019. At no point did she say, "By the way, I stole this SD card from him, and he also admitted to me to killing this woman that I know." That's all new 4 years down the road. And now she said, "I didn't just steal the SD card, I stole the entire phone. Then I stole an SD card so I could copy the contents of the phone, put the SD card in the phone. And that's how this came to be. Also, I lost the phone. The originals are gone." So I can't tell you what she's going to say when she gets on the stand to tell you about how she came into possession of these videos. But suffice to say, it's changed a whole bunch in 4 years. She's lied about it several times, material details. Who knows why? And that's the video that spawned this whole thing. From a person who repeatedly lied about it, who now seems to have an axe to grind, and who miraculously got rid of the originals. And then the police take over, and as the state said, they engaged in an extensive investigation to try to prove up what happened on that video. So, as the state said, you're going to hear from a couple medical examiners. Dr. Thompson, you'll see, made no medical findings that Kathleen Henry had died due to asphyxiation by strangulation. What you'll hear is he looked at the remains he found. He was surprised at how decomposed they were, given the alleged timeline. And there was not enough soft tissue left, again, because it was decomposed beyond what he would expect. There was not enough soft tissue left to make any sort of a diagnosis about asphyxiation by strangulation. But what he will tell you is there is one part of a skeleton you look for when you're trying to diagnose a strangulation. That is called the hyoid bone. And what you'd expect is through a strong strangulation that bone would be broken. and it was not broken on the remains that he reviewed. So the one piece of medical evidence that he would look for to support death by strangulation does not exist. And you'll see nowhere in his report does he discuss the video. Does he make any medical findings about the video? Does he discuss, no, what I saw in the video as a doctor, this is what this means to me? No. He simply writes, and I reviewed the rest of the investigation, and I diagnosed this as a homicide by strangulation. So again, one thing begets another. There's no actual medical evidence to back up this diagnosis. He just relied on the investigation to agree that the investigation says what it says. You'll also see, despite the fact that the state goes through the DNA evidence, they went through the DNA evidence in their opening, they found some presumptive fluids in the hotel room where this allegedly happened. And you'll hear that they did not find Kathleen Henry's DNA. And never mind did not find it, you'll hear that she was excluded as a source of the DNA they found in this hotel room. So again, they have DNA evidence, but it doesn't back up their story. And then with all of this, you're going to hear, and it's a large part of the state's case, the interrogation. And the state's going to want you to believe this interrogation. They're going to want you to believe what Mr. Smith said during this interrogation. And we talked in voir dire about everything that goes through your mind, everything that can weigh on your mind or affect your mind, questions, and reality. And you'll see that this interrogation started in the airport after Mr. Smith had flown back from Washington, D.C. to Seattle, get to the Anchorage airport, and pick him up there after a long flight. And that's where it starts. And they sit him down in the room. They don't tell him anything. Why do you think we're here? He initially thinks he's there because he had his truck rifled through recently. Maybe they're here to talk to me about an investigation into my truck being stolen from. Nope, that wasn't it. Then they start showing him very small snippets of videos. One of it is just a recording of an audio portion of the video. They don't even show it to him, and then selected snapshots. Then they start telling him, this is you, this is you, this is you, this is you, this is you. Over and over and over and over and over again for hours. And they engage in a lot of pressure tactics with him. You're a good person. You're a bad person. This wasn't really you who did this. This was some other part of you. There's an explanation for it. Oh, people have done worse than this. You can just admit to it. And as you heard in the state's opening, this went on for hours. The state said Mr. Smith talked for hours. No, he was questioned for hours. He even at one point said, shouldn't I get a lawyer? And they talked through that. I don't know, it kind of sounds like you want to keep talking, don't you? And at that point, after being told, here's what the video shows, here's what the video shows, here's what it shows, here's what it shows, being told this is him, being put through several pressure tactics, he starts to say, I mean, I guess it seems like you have me, but I don't remember doing any of this. Yeah, maybe that looks like me. He's not told where any of this came from. He's not told the provenance of it. He's not told the history of it. I guess that looks like me, but I don't remember doing any of this. And they finally, after hours and hours and hours of that, not only do they start questioning him about that, they start saying, hey, is there anything else we need to know about? Is there anything else you want to tell us? Is there anything else we need to know? You don't list anybody else? So yes, they did take a break. They were going to execute a search warrant for DNA swabs. But right before that, they said, now's the time, now's the time, now's the time. If this is something you've done before, if there's other victims, you got to tell us right now. So it's clear to him at that point. Clearly, the one confession wasn't enough. He's got to confess to more because this is never going to end. It's been hours already. He spent hours on a flight. They're keeping him at the airport. He has no control. There's no end in sight. He doesn't know when this is going to end. He just knows They questioned me about this one thing that I don't remember. Now they're saying there's got to be something else. So at that point, gives his other statement. And you're going to hear a lot about Mr. Smith. You're going to hear a lot about him from people who know him, from the investigators. And you're going to hear some things that a lot of people wouldn't want you to know about them. You're going to hear that he had a fetish for certain types of sexual content. You're going to hear that he shared that fetish with at least one partner. On the other hand, you're going to hear from his wife that he was a good husband. You're going to hear that he did engage the service.
Just going to pause this real quick. Steve, as you have researched this case, how many parallels to Rex Sherman have you? I mean, the more and more I hear about this case, it's like the Alaskan Rex Sherman. What do you think? I mean,
you said it to me earlier, and it kind of hit me. Yeah, dude, it has the same type of vibe, honestly. And what they just said, the wife, I read earlier, it was a 2019 article, but in that article, she was at that point in time, and this was after charges were already out there, that she was going to stand beside him.
And I think she's back in South Africa now, from what I saw. I think she some representative was like they want to wait for it, but I don't think she's in the States anymore. But I could be wrong.
I was wondering if she still, 5 years later, still felt like that.
I mean, she did that interview that we watched where she's literally walking through their house. She clearly didn't think at that point, but I mean, they took out the rug. Wild stuff. Sorry, guys. I'll keep going on the statement. Just wild.
Crazy sex workers. You're going to hear that he went to chat rooms. You're going to hear that he viewed certain types of pornography. You're going to hear that's the context in which he ultimately gave his statement when being demanded to make another confession about who the state now alleges is Veronica Abachuk, and who they allege he killed. And the state's also asking you to focus on a few of the wrong things here. First, the burden of knowing, personalizing this to you. This is not about you as a jury. This is about what the facts show. Your job is to view the evidence and interpret the evidence. And this is not about any one theme or anything like that. This is about, does the evidence show that the state has such a strong case for the crimes charged beyond a reasonable doubt that you should convict? There's going to be a lot you hear over the next several weeks. There's going to be a lot that's highlighted to you. And you need to keep in mind as you're listening to it, Brian Smith he's not on trial for possession of pornography. He's not on trial for engaging the services of sex workers. He's not on trial for having fetishes. He's not on trial for adultery. He's on trial for murder and related acts related to two specific women. That is it. And during voir dire, we made sure that you were able to keep your emotions out of this. You're able to view the evidence dispassionately and objectively and see it for what it is. And as I described to you, what you're going to see is evidence with a lot of issues, a lot of holes in it, either because of where it comes from, why it exists, the nature of it, what it shows and what it doesn't show. And by the end of the case, based on the serious flaws in that evidence, I'm going to get back up and ask you what I am going to ask you right now, which is to find Mr. Smith not guilty on all charges. Thank you.
Now, will they have witnesses today? I don't know.
Okay, folks, we're about 10 minutes after 1:30, and I'm going to release you for the day.
Yep.
See you back here in the courtroom at 8:30 a.m. in the morning, or in the jury room.
Openings anyways.
Have they been shown how to get? They haven't. Okay, come here to the courtroom, and you'll be instructed on how to get into the jury room. So be waiting outside the doorway here.
It's chaos in Alaska.
8:30 a.m.
This feed, guys. This feed.
See you in the morning.
So
that was the weirdest ending.
let me get this.
All right, let's get out of here, guys.
So what do you? Hold on, let me change the screen. I'm just telling you guys right now. I hope that like Court TV like fixes what's going on here, like talks to whoever's handling the feed, but this might be a struggle, but we'll get through it. But hopefully they fix the audio at the very least. The video doesn't look like it's going to be great, but so Steve, tell me from what you've researched so far, what are you thinking about this game? What have you? I don't want you to give out your whole stream tonight, guys. 9 p.m. tonight, which is if you're not on Eastern Standard Time, is about 3 hours. Steve is did a deep dive on this. So what are you thinking so far, Steve?
Yeah, I've got a show set up for tonight. Yeah, and today I was going over lots of different things, and man, it's from basically the opening that we heard from the opening statements from the state, dude. No, this is really messed up. It's I can see why Court TV and the buzz is catching on because it's freaking horrible. But yeah, I've got a lot of different stuff basically from 2019 that was coming out. I found this one.
Hold on, sorry, I don't know what the hell's. What is this? Wait a second.
What's going on?
I think they're still going. Hold on.
Oh shit. There's no rules in Alaska, guys.
If it gets close to asking the jury to take part in a kind of in a social movement or to, do justice or something like, that's not what we're here to discuss. The discussion here is what the evidence shows, and to keep that side of things in any greater societal movement or feeling that we need to do this to be part of a movement or to be on the right side of something out of it.
State have a response?
I mean, I used it in the context in which it was used in the investigation. He confessed to murdering an Alaska Native woman and didn't know who she was. He went to a series of murdered and missing Indigenous women.
Plan on making the same reference in the future?
Probably not.
Okay.
I'm not use the phrase, or the police might say we collected photographs and identities of women. I suppose we could say women, Alaska Native women who had been reported missing.
Yeah, to the extent that there appears to be a plea to support a particular movement or to be part of a particular movement, that would be improper in this trial. The trial is over a very specific set of accusations, and so I don't think it doesn't. I didn't even catch it, but in hearing the explanations and the arguments, I don't believe it was used improperly in the single reference we've had so far. But I would caution counsel to not leave the impression that you're asking jurors to buy into something larger than the case itself.
Understood.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
No, Judge.
No.
All right, we'll go off record.
Please rise. 3410 to recess.
So I wonder if they showed that seal before, that thing before, like because they didn't want to show the jury leaving or something. That was weird how they kind of just stopped showing it.
I bet that's what it was. That makes more sense.
Let me go back to our... So go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. So what is...
No, dude. Today, I've really just been kind of diving into this. Again, a lot of help from Dizzy, dude. Dizzy's unbelievable out here in these streets.
Absolutely.
But dude, yeah, I found so many different links. I've got some cool stuff that's going to be coming tonight that's actually going to be remembering the victims. Yeah, lots of different things. Some data suggesting serial killers that could be active in Alaska. Yeah, dude. But what you were mentioning with the Rex Heuermann stuff, I bet that they're, again, allegedly, whatever you want to say, this has the vibe of being like, this is not a one or even now we know two and done type of thing, right? Like,
right.
This
Plus,
dude's probably,
the fact that he was a hotel employee who had, and he used his hotel thing and then like
for a discounted room. Like, what the fuck, dude?
So like, who's to say how many hotels? Like, I'm sure they're checking up on that now, but also he just came over from South Africa, right? Who knows when over there?
Dude, good point. Yeah, man. Like, hopefully I mean, I don't know the politics in South Africa, but hopefully they're looking into other cases, disappearances, especially in the area he might have been living. Because yeah, dude, like God, we can't guarantee it, and it's even crazy to say something like that. I guess you'd throw allegedly in front of it, but man, it has that vibe where this could grow. Hopefully they're doing some legwork and their due diligence to see if there's others out there.
And honestly, it seems like we got another guest who's going to join us, folks. Just wait out 1 second. Let me just make sure I got this set up here. Well, apparently he's closing the door. 1 second. But it seems like the women who were, much like Rex Sherman, this guy targeted people that maybe might fall under the radar.
Exactly, yeah.
So hold on 1 second. Let me see if I got this set up.
Homeless, indigenous women.
Right.
And we know a lot of the stuff I was posting on Twitter is a blatant, vicious racist with some of the posts that I found today.
Yeah, I saw that.
Dude, he's a whack job. Bob, what's up?
What's up, Bob?
What's up, boys?
So,
I missed the state. I missed the state opening. How was it?
Well, first of all, it was even harder than the defense to hear because the audio was so awful.
Where was that feed? Was that Court TV through some local feed. Alaska shit?
That's the court's feed that everyone has to use. It's going to be brutal. I'm hoping Court TV contacts whoever is handling the feed and you got to fix that audio. I mean, the video is pretty bad in itself. You don't see much, but if the audio is a mess, that's just a nightmare.
Yeah, that incessant buzzing, man, was fucking super annoying.
Brutal.
But essentially,
it wasn't as bad as the nose blowing. The nose blowing was next level fucking shit, man.
Right into the mic.
I was like, whoa! Whoa!
And the judge also yawned at least 3 times. Big yawns. My man was sleepy. My man needed a snoozer.
It's been a day.
Excuse me, sir.
Opening from state, from what I could hear, because I was driving home to get on here, was freaking crazy, dude.
Yeah, so Bob, I don't know what details you know, but essentially, this woman.
All I know really is the video, that this woman, that he had hired.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but what I think that's what it was. This woman is going to hook up with him. She's in the car, whatever. He goes to the ATM to get cash. She goes into his glove compartment and steals some stuff, which includes a camera or includes this memory card, which she then looks at later. Finds this video of him in this hotel. Literally, the video is him unaliving this Kathleen Henry. You can't see him, but he's from South Africa, and you can hear his voice. He has a distinct accent. Do I have that right, Steve, so far? Or
yeah, no, that's it exactly. Yeah.
So they arrest him. So after a week. By the way, the defense's whole thing is that this lady is not credible. She there's a whole.
One of the biggest things for them is that she didn't. When she first turned it over to the police, she said she found it on the street, and then she changed that story and said, "No, I got this out of his car."
So, and there was a whole argument, and I know, Bob, you're all about this, but there was a whole argument before the trial started from the defense that this should not be entered because the chain of custody wasn't there, but the judge is like, no, this is coming in. So they arrest him because they have this video, and they arrest him. After they arrest him, he's like, wait, they're interrogating him, and then they're going to leave. He's like, you guys are leaving now? I got something better for you. I forget what his quote is, but I'm gonna make you famous, right?
I'm gonna make you famous.
I'm gonna make you famous. Wow. And he's like, I'm gonna be burning in hell anyway, or they're gonna burn me anyway. I murdered this other woman, and he tells them where it is. They go to where it was, and they find another body. And now they're
gives details, goes to where the location is, and now they're trying to say that he didn't murder this lady. It's madness.
He also sells his the day after they look at the timestamp on the video from the video when he kills the Kathleen Henry. They look at the timestamp and they look at his Facebook the next day. He's selling a drone, he's selling a hard drive or his computer, and he's selling something else on Facebook Marketplace. And then Bob, we watched this video where the wife. This is what kind of makes me think of Rex Sherman. I don't think this wife, from what I've seen so far, doesn't seem to know what's going on, but she's walking through the house with these journalists, showing them the thumb drives, showing them where they found blood in the house of the second victim, and they cut out a huge part of the carpet. They're just walking around, and she's talking about how many guns he has, that interview is
I thought it was crazy in that same footage when they're walking to the house and she shows whoever's walking with her that tin full of like SD cards and memory cards. Did those just get left? Like
I
the
feel
fact that the
they were
original
hurt.
footage was on just a random jump drive. You never know what could.
That's a good question. I don't know
on
if they
any of
searched
this
them and
shit,
gave them back, but you would think they would have taken everything. But she did have them, so I don't know if they gave them back to her after that. So
when I saw that, I was like, "What?"
I mean, they had to have checked all the drives, man, to see what's what, right? I mean,
I hope so.
I would think so, but
like I hope so.
And I don't know if you saw about, but this guy worked at Marriott, which is where he killed the first victim. He used his card for like a discount. I mean, the wild thing is if this woman doesn't ever find this who's on the date with him, no one knows about either of these cases if this woman doesn't steal. So that woman's testimony, I feel like, is going to be a big deal as far as. And by the way, was she going to be the next victim if she didn't get that stuff and get out of there? I mean,
it sounds like it. I mean, she's claiming that he made some kind of confession to her as well, right? Like she is that what the deal?
I don't think so.
Like when I was trying to work this thing out, when I just kind of like heard the story, and I'm like, all right, well, who the fuck is taking an SD card but leaving the camera? That sounds like the most fucking.
The way it sounds to me is like, and which I mean, I don't know why the fuck. It's even crazier the way it reads to me. Like the jump drive was labeled "Murder in the Marriott."
Yeah,
like
you're right.
It had a label on it.
So
what the fuck?
What's a jump drive? Is that different than like a thumb drive, or are they the same?
Thumb drive,
I think it's
like
same
little
thing.
stick, yeah, same thing. Stick drive, same thing, and like, yeah,
by the way,
like it was actually labeled.
The thing I had read is they made it sound like it was an SD card from a fucking camera.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's basically what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but SD cards you stick into the fucking. You know what I mean? That's just like a really bizarre thing.
I'm taking it as a jump drive, not an SD card.
Okay, maybe
I'm taking it as like a jump drive you'd put into a computer and put your shit on.
Yeah, I mean, if it's labeled, because SD cards are fucking teeny, man. Like I have one in my like a little one for my Roku for extra memory. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what his wife shows. A bunch of those. So that's what
she did show. No,
that's
true. When she was in the house showing stuff in that tin, there was tons of SD cards, like from an actual camera. So,
and by the way, Bob, I don't know if you saw this part. So in the video, he says, "You're gonna die because everyone in my videos dies," or some quote to that effect. So basically, like, I mean, how many more of these videos?
And not to really, because I'm going to be covering this tonight at 9, but not to go into some of the stuff I may be talking about tonight. But I mean, are you guys familiar with the dark web? And what a lot of this shit that goes on the dark web, I mean, this guy was probably, especially to have a jump drive like that labeled, I mean, was that a copy of a jump drive? Was he selling these on the dark web potentially? He might not be that smart to get on the dark web, but
I mean, I'm on the dark web a couple nights a week.
Like that's where you would go to do the worst shit ever. So including showing murders. Like
Bob learned how to use the audio
one
booster.
thing I would never be accused of being able to do was to get onto the fucking dark web.
That's not where you got the audio booster, Bob? You didn't get the audio booster on the dark web?
Wait, how do I get on there?
I've actually done research on the dark web, and I'm like, how do you do this? And then when I actually start looking into it, you got to have like a specific server, and like I'm like, all right, I got to talk to Dan.
I mean, I'm sure all of our
Dan's my dark web guy. Good to know.
Yes.
All of our Google searches as true crime people are bad enough as it is. We don't need to be going on the dark web to make even more evidence against
I forget
us.
what I was afraid to Google the other day. I'm like, man, I think it was something relating to child pornography that I was trying to find like a sentence, like what the sentence is for child pornography, and I'm like,
oh god, that's
kind of like afraid to even like type.
That's a rough one.
And I'm like, oh, this fucking gay. Look at me searching up child.
That looks too rough. Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm like, it was for the law.
But another
thing I see in the chats, man, like the whole Israel Keys thing. You know, because like Keys was definitely, I mean, he was another fucking Alaska dude, you know, because Alaska is probably the best place to be a murderer, like, you know, because it's so much wilderness up there still, man, you know, and like if you're going to hide a body and you're, you know, not leaving it in the Marriott, there's a lot of land out there, man, like where shit's probably not going to get found. Like in Keys was, a lot of part, like a big part of me thinks that Keys is full of shit though. Like the whole thing with him, like my buddy Josh Hallmark, who does that true crime bullshit thing, he's been obsessed with Keys for like 7 years. He's like on his 6th season. Like it all started when he, like the FBI put up the Keys videos for like 15 minutes. And then it was like, oh fuck, oops. He happened to be like on the internet and snagged all those FBI videos. And that's when he started his podcast on it. And then of course he became obsessed, and he's trying, because Keys in those interviews is always talking about how he killed all these different people, but like wouldn't give the feds anything unless they were giving him carrots, like, oh, I want to make sure that my wife or my ex-wife gets my car, like stupid shit that didn't matter. Oh, I want to have a cigar to smoke, but like, I always got this vibe. Like I always tell Josh, I'm like, man, dude, you're chasing ghosts, bro. I think that guy was completely full of shit. I think he was just sitting there fucking with the feds, because he definitely killed the one girl. They got him on video, but he's talking about like in his cell. I don't know if it was right when he killed himself, but like at some point he had drawn like, I don't know if it was 12 or 13 skulls and blood. So everybody was like, oh, that's his victim count, including himself, maybe because he killed himself. So it's like, and I always just thought the dude was full of shit, just playing mind games with the feds, because like he was done. He was like, I don't want to be
infamous, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was like, he didn't know. No, he was the opposite. Like his deal with the feds was it because he had a daughter. He's like, I do not want you fucking people leaking this shit. I don't want to be known.
Oh, whoa.
I don't want my daughter to, like, that was the deal. He's like, I'll give you everything you want, but you have to promise me that you're not going to make this public while this is going on. He's like, I don't want a trial. I just want to skip right to my execution, and that's it. Like Keys was a super weird dude, man. Like he was the guy that would leave murder kits. Like he'd bury a murder kit. Like he was going all over the country and he'd bury murder kits like a year, 2 years ahead of time. And then like he'd go back to that area and then like go to like theoretically kill somebody, and he'd have his murder kit there already. And he'd like,
holy shit.
Yeah, dude. Oh, you haven't heard of Keys?
I'm not familiar with this one.
I had never heard of Israel Keys either.
I just Googled that. I Googled it and got it popped up over here. That sounds insane.
Oh, dude. He's like, he's either completely full of shit or he's like one of the most prolific guys in terms of like, kind of the shit that he did. But, people are like, he was the most meticulous, but he was really very sloppy. Like most of them are sloppy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking crazy. I don't know.
Bob, you made a point, speaking of prolific guys, potentially, you made a point that this trial might be the preview of like the Rex Heuermann case. And I was saying to Steve before, I mean, so many similar things, but one of it is he clearly preyed on a demographic that is like indigenous women in Alaska. There's a major problem that we're missing in murder. Yep. And, similar with Rex Heuermann and sex workers, they preyed on people that, they didn't think people would be looking for them.
Right, right.
And really, this guy got away with it, just like Rex did, until just by happenstance that woman finds that if she doesn't find that card, who knows what else he's doing. And by the way, who knows how much stuff he did before. I really don't think these two cases are the only cases for this guy. I just find that hard to believe.
Way. I mean, and it's like, I was talking to Gazella like before I went on her live, because she's South African. So I'm like, you up on this Brian Smith thing? She's like, oh yeah. I'm like, he was probably killing in South Africa. She's like, yeah. And like, they'll never find anything. Wow. She's like, it is not like that. She's like, they're not
looking into anything.
No. Well, and it's like, there's no surveillance. There's nothing. She's like, it's like prehistoric law enforcement shit going on there. It's like, she's like, they will never be able to build a case on him there.
And by the way, guys, thank you, Dizzy, for sharing this. We're going to try to, at least every time we stream this, we are sharing the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center. So check out that link if you get a chance for missing and murdered Indigenous women, MMIW. Thanks for posting that. I got to make a thing for it, so it comes up automatically. But so Steve, what's going on tonight? So guys, if you don't know, Steve is, I said it before, make sure you subscribe to Steve and Bob. I'm assuming most people here are subscribed to both, but I'll put it in there. But Steve, what's your stream about? You're doing a deep dive, right, tonight on this
Deep
case?
dive tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern time on this. I've just been really basically just looking up this stuff all day long. I got a couple of things that are, kind of we're deep on the internet. So yeah, a few things that you probably haven't seen yet. And yeah, man, it's gonna be a good show. Probably be about an hour and a half. I got a long list. I've got a full show tonight. It's gonna be a good one.
Sounds like a good one.
Baby.
So did you decide, look, man, that whole Kansas City thing, where'd you land on that? Like, look, like Joe.
With you, buddy.
Well, hold on. Cabo.
Hey.
Uh-oh.
3 months, Bo. Thank you so much,
Jalen.
Cabo. Super Bowl 3 months. It doesn't get better than all of our 3 all-star Bows together. Thank you so much, Cabo. Sorry, go ahead.
Did y'all wish Cabo a happy birthday a couple days ago?
I did.
I did on the Twitter machine. I wasn't I think it was on the weekend, but I did on the
Friday night. She was getting hammered in my stream, and yeah, we were wishing her happy birthday.
Good. She's one of the good ones, man.
She is, man.
For sure.
So yeah, like I don't know, man. Like, so did you guys see Joe did like that little short? And he's like, it was like a brilliant move of this guy to check himself into rehab because of the whole HIPAA shit, and like they won't be able to test him, and because it's like it's only one of two possibilities. It's like Steve, you had on you had the video or like the guys, he's the chemist. He's the chemist, right?
Right, yeah.
He's the fucking chemist. I don't know. He's doing the chemistry. He's not making the shit. He's the And I'm like, so
he had the drugs.
But dude, chemists aren't fucking mixing blow and fentanyl. That's not what chemists do. Like fentanyl is like, that's like some stuff.
Also, that dude that said that, he said some crazy shit because earlier he said he was saying all that. Yeah, he's the chemist. He has the drugs. But then he also said in high school that these friends would get that he would make the drugs for him. In high school, he wasn't a chemist. Like, was he like at some point he had to go to college to become a chemist?
Yeah, my point is that chemists aren't fucking just dumping fentanyl. Like that's how dealers like cut their drugs. Like they use fentanyl because it's cheap and because it gives it's better than baby laxative, which is what, you get stepped on shit. That's typically what they're cutting it with. Fentanyl is actually a drug. And like people are dying because these guys they're overdosing everybody with the fentanyl. They're putting too much of the cut in there, and it's like, so like this guy either had partaken. If he was smart, he would have gone in and said, I need a drug test now. Because I want to show that I took it and that I had the fentanyl in my system as well. You know what I mean? Because it kind of then...
Because it knocked me out. I'm lucky I'm not dead.
That. Well, that's what I was telling you, Steve. I think that he probably did a rail. Like they all probably did rails. And dudes went out to smoke or some shit. And he's like, yo, I'm going to go. He's like, I'm not feeling good, man.
They're probably getting hot. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it went up because him not being accessible for 2 days was weird, right? I mean, that was the part that I was like, when the girls are all calling, where the fuck's my man at? What the fuck's going on over there? And, then they finally come over. I mean, to me, that seems plausible that he would have been just out of it. Like if he survived it because maybe he just did a little bit less,
right?
But he's whacked for a couple days until he comes to. I don't know.
Me and Dan were talking about that. All of that you just said. If that happened,
we're gonna be buddies. We're gonna be
Joanne, member.
Joanne, let's go, baby.
Joanne's awesome. She's a member for 4 months. Jay, thank you for acknowledging missing, murdered Indigenous women. Sadly, there isn't national focus on them or their families. Good point. And Joanne, thank you so much. You rock.
Love Joanne.
Go ahead. Joanne. Sorry.
But I was just saying, me and Dan were kind of talking about everything you just said. Let's say that's how it went down. But before the fiance comes, breaks in, and finds a body, he wakes up, he notices, and then he goes into freak out mode. What the fuck am I going to do? Because the weird part is the fiance breaks into the house, goes upstairs, sees the bodies through a window upstairs, and is screaming for this motherfucker inside the house. She calls the cops, leaves. Cops come, knock on the door. He instantly opens up. So she's inside freaking out. She's in his residence screaming for him, and he never shows.
Wow.
That's pretty weird. Like,
It's pretty weird. It's definitely weird.
that's a fucking weird one, dude. But yeah, him getting into the rehab is probably, I mean, like Joe said, probably his smartest bet. At this point, if he didn't do the drug test
it's
immediately.
smart as long as he got a drug test that would
Right.
show that like he wasn't the guy supplying
Yeah,
bad
dude.
drugs, because then that turns him into a murderer.
Yep.
If he's partaking, you know, like that's what I'm saying. Like his homie or whoever knew him, calling him the chemist and shit. I'm like, chemists make acid, you know, chemists make meth. They don't fucking cut cocaine with fentanyl. That's like
that is weird. Yeah.
corner boy bullshit. Like, you know, just trying to squeeze a few extra bucks out of a baggie, you know.
Well, I question that guy when he's doing an interview and he can't take the fucking one AirPod out of his ear. Like, bro, you're a national team. They're doing it. Take your stupid AirPod out and answer the question, bro.
It was a weird interview. That whole interview was fucking weird,
like,
dude.
Taylor Swift in his ear or something.
That was crazy. Like his whole demeanor was actually kind of weird, honestly. Like,
yeah, he seemed like he was trying to get his fucking 15 minutes. That's what he struck me as, you know.
100%, I think, honestly.
Like thinking his shit's gonna go viral. Fucking guy's a chemist, man. You fucking chemist, bro. Do you fucking know?
He's like Jesse Pinkman.
He's the fucking chemist, dude. Oh, well, come on, man. Yeah, that guy was not feeling it.
Some of Dan now.
But
so
guys,
how you gonna work this stream, man? Like what's
you
going
tell
on
me.
with
We got to
this?
figure this out. So I mean, guys, 4
I'm
hours.
out of
Alaska's 5 hours behind.
Four.
Okay, excuse me, 4 hours behind.
Yeah, 4. I think right. 4.
I
Maybe
googled it earlier, and it was. I think
maybe you're right. Maybe
you
it
guys
is
get
5.
a sense of how long you think this thing's gonna last?
3. They're saying 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's 2:12 there now.
So that's 4 hours. So it's
4
going to start
hours.
tomorrow at 12:30. So I'll definitely be streaming it. And I don't know, what are you?
12:30 our time?
No, you're 11:30 your time because our time is different than yours.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I don't know what you're planning on doing. But there's also, by the way, I'm not going to cover it, but I know there's also the Adam Montgomery cases. They're picking a jury today.
Man, I can't fucking look at that guy, man.
No, that one's a hard one, dude.
Dude, I cannot look at him. Like, you know, there's the Huermans and like all the fucking like just giant potential pieces of shit, and like that guy, just to, like the thought of him punching that little
dude.
Beautiful.
When you see the fucking
in
picture,
face,
dude, of that girl, bro, like,
dude, like I've said it. I tweeted
can't
out
even.
there. I'm like, man, like I'd pay money to meet that motherfucker in an alley and see if he wants to pick on somebody his own size. Like, I mean, who punches their baby daughter repeatedly in the face? The guy, man, no. I don't know. I don't know if I could watch that fucking trial. He like literally gets me furious. Like kind of like as mad as you get about the like, you know, the whole Adelson clan, man. That's how I feel about Montgomery, except like violent. You know, like I just really, really would like to beat that guy's ass. And I'm old, you know, I'm like, I'm past that those times in my life, but that guy, that guy's the worst. He is. He's just a piece of shit, man.
He really is. But yeah, so I'm going to set up for 12:30 tomorrow. But before that, obviously, Steve, 9 tonight. This is going to portal you there, Bob. When's your next stream, Bob? What are you? So you're going to the Super Bowl, right? You're going like Thursday.
Well, I'm not going to the bowl. I'm going to Tennessee. Yeah, like my annual guys trip to Tennessee. I don't know. I might do so. You know, dude, it's like.
Well, plus you get Delphi shit happening every day. That's
exactly. It's like I'm going to try to keep a couple days off, but I won't be able to do it. Like some it's never ending, that shit, dude. Like every single day, there's some shit's filed. You know, like Hennessy's back on, like that whole, it's never ending. Man, it's like when that thing goes to trial, I kept telling y'all, I'm like Jay hadn't heard it. I'm like, this Delphi thing, it's going to be a thing. And like, this isn't even the case. This is all just the collateral bullshit that's going on. And but it's crazy. I've never seen anything like it, man. Like this judge is just on tilt.
Well,
it's like she just got like it's crazy.
I just shared your link again, but I'm assuming pretty much whatever I have you guys on, I just assume. But if you're new to this channel, you're gonna love Steve's channel, you're gonna love Bob's channel. So we're dropping those links. Make sure you subscribe. I would say on YouTube to put the notifications on, but YouTube notifications are garbage. So
Basically,
even if you just follow us on Kick just to get the notification to go on to YouTube, because that's the one thing that Kick comes through every time. You get it blows up your phone with an email and a notification.
It really does.
It does.
Like I get that. I get those notifications like Jay's just started a Kick stream. I'm like,
Stevie just got a notification on a short I posted 2 days ago. He's like, why did this just come up now? Like,
dude, I randomly get short notifications that are days. Like, it makes no sense. What are they doing?
I don't know.
Is their system just so overloaded? Like,
I feel like they just don't care. Like, that's like one thing that, like, just like creators,
probably.
like they're like a monopoly, so they could just do whatever they want. They could demonetize you. It doesn't matter. They could just do what they want, basically, because they're the only game in town, essentially. I mean, Kick is nice, but it's not, people aren't competing really with YouTube. In my
I mean, like the Kick's mobile app sucks like that. You know, it really does. It's like it's just glitchy. You know,
it is glitchy.
They really do. They have to invest in like the infrastructure because like the computer shit's is pretty great, you know, and it's like awesome to be able to like till they catch up and like start blasting copyright claims all over everybody. Like it's awesome to be able to stream shit, you know, because that's fun. It's fun to be able to basically watch movies with your friends. It's not like we're making money on the shit. We're like hanging around with us and our friends that happen to be in our chat, like watching shit, talking shit. It's like,
for real.
Yeah, I mean, for real though, it's you know, but yeah, I like that aspect of it.
I kind of hope Kick, like, it's amazing and hell, you know, that I want it to do great, but I kind of want it to stay where it's at so it don't get to the copyright. Like, I'm so afraid of that.
Right, so it doesn't get too big for its britches.
Yeah.
I will say this though, I think we can all probably agree on this because we all pretty much have a pretty good collective group that, you know, comes into all of our chats, and you guys are amazing. Like, we appreciate how you like. We sometimes we have strays who come in and try to like star shit, but you guys never go for that, and our mods are the best in the biz, all of us together. So I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you guys because you guys are awesome.
They're the best.
They do. Everyone does like we got researchers, we got people who do thumbnail, we got people who are just here to like remind you to hit the like everything, and you know,
it's crazy. It's pretty wild, man.
And probably all three of us get the comment in our chats that like, man, I was just out in the law and crime chat, and it was like a jungle in there, or I was in the court. Like that's our goal, is to keep it like this way, and we can't thank you guys enough for that.
Oh man, it's everything. I literally just talked about that exact same thing on the stream that I was just on. I was like, I like dipped my toe into the law and crime stream, and it was everybody just firing on Shannon's. And I'm like, yeah, you know, she's just doing her job. You know, those are everybody was fucking hating on her. And I hadn't a finish sheet. She reminds me of Allison in a lot of ways. Like, she's like super fucking knowledgeable about the law. People like were turned off by her approach though, which I guess I could see. I just thought she was very relatable. And, you know, in trying a case like that alone without a trial partner, man, is like, I keep saying it, but I'm trying to, it's kind of like, imagine a doctor going into surgery alone without like anybody handing him shit, with no one working the drain. Like, not, you know, it's like, it's that same type of shit. 'Cause you're hyper focused on a witness that's testifying. You're trying to keep notes, and like, you're trying to figure out what out of the thousands of exhibits that they have that they're accessing. And she's like all like me on her computer, you know, it's like she made that thing during her closing.
She didn't say what she said.
I'm not going to get in my computer again.
Yeah, she even made a joke about being like terrible at computers.
Right. I mean,
since I've been doing this, I haven't watched one trial since I've been doing that where there was not at least two people at two.
Dude, it's not. It's unheard of. That's what I'm saying.
Something that huge,
right? In the state, they'll have 3, 4, depending on the size of the trial, 5 plus all the little minions that sit, you know, like not at the table but behind them. Like you just have to have that because the mechanics of the trial is just like a lot. Like, it's very, very difficult to, like, Allie and I would never do a trial without the other one. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't have my my blaster light on. I just have my little guys. It's dark. It's mysterious. Oh, Jerry.
Subscribing.
All right, guys. So I'm going to end this.
Jay, did you watch the new Curb?
No, is it? It's.
Oh shit! I haven't seen the new one yet.
I don't have. I got to re-up HBO. I canceled it. I got to back. I got to get back.
Are we still friends? Are we still fucking?
Of course,
friends?
we're still friends. I'm not like Chris Duet, who says it's garbage, or my wife, who
He's
says
out of
it's
his fucking mind.
No, actually,
Shannon doesn't like it either.
No. I take that back. Shannon loves Curb. She loves Curb. She hates Seinfeld. I'll take that back.
Dude, I have an opposite of that. Cassie, bro. So when me and Cassie got together, we got together because of Seinfeld. I saw on her Facebook she had like a picture of George. That's literally how I asked her out. Whatever. So years of watching Seinfeld, dude. I'm making dinner. This is years ago. We've been together forever, but I'm making dinner, you know. So I just throw something on. I threw on Curb. I want to watch some fucking Curb. All of a sudden, she's like, I got to let you know, I'm not a big Curb fan. I'm like, what do you mean? You like Seinfeld? It's. I mean, she's like, I know, and I know the connection, but it's not the same.
Shannon doesn't like Seinfeld.
She doesn't. There she
Does Allie not like Seinfeld?
I love Seinfeld.
There we go. Okay, I was worried.
Babe, you've upset Allie now. Look what
Dude.
you've done. Yeah,
She
she
heard
doesn't
that.
like
You're
it.
the exact opposite of Cassie.
You heard it from downstairs, or was it still playing down there?
It was still playing.
Oh yeah, I was like, wow, she had the eagle ears.
Look,
going.
babe is trying to. She's trying to get out of it. Allie looks so pretty. Don't even try it, babe. You already can't take it back. You said you hate Seinfeld.
But she likes Larry David. It sort of seems.
Dude.
Makes no fucking sense. It makes zero sense.
I don't know how you can not like both. I don't know.
I don't get it
Like
either.
Larry is George. If you like the character of George,
You guys are my arguments
have
are all
to
the
love
time.
Larry.
She doesn't
The
want to.
greatest two characters of all time, George and
Maybe
Larry,
she's
because they're the same.
Seinfeld.
Like,
There's no Seinfeld in Larry David.
It's true.
That's true.
100%.
Well, I was having this conversation with Jay the other day. I'm like, because who you were talking about? You were talking about like, you know, like I want to have them like send the offices without fucking Steve Carell back to outer space or some shit. And I'm like if you really think about The Office, like who, like without Dwight Schrute, that like I think that The Office could have like survived and done well without Steve Carell, but it would have flopped.
I
without
don't know,
Dwight
man.
Schrute.
I don't know if it would do well without Steve Carell. To me,
Oh,
like,
dude, like
think about how many people they tried to use. Will Ferrell, what's his name from James
Yeah, but
Spader.
the show would just run its course at that point.
Steve Carell,
I
Michael
think they should
Scott.
have just,
No,
which I don't think he wanted to do it, but
and-
they should have got Ricky Gervais to do the UK
Exactly.
character from The Office. That would have been
Fucking Ricky
amazing.
was amazing, man. Like
Fucking, that would've been
I
amazing.
watched the original Office before.
I like the original better than the American version.
Oh,
Me
you
too.
fucking nerds! I like the
Dude.
book better than the movie. Oh, I like the original.
I'm such a big Brit fan, like comedy fan. Like,
but like Seinfeld without Kramer, you gotta have like Kramer.
Yeah, you gotta have Kramer.
It's like
yeah, it wouldn't be the same.
if you look at the movie Caddyshack, you could survive without Chevy Chase. Could even survive without Bill Murray, who you could not.
Oh,
survive.
that's blasphemy, sir.
Hey, Bill Murray's a fucking Chicago legend, and he's a fucking.
So who are you going to say they need if they didn't need Bill Murray?
At night, Judge.
Oh, I mean, he was great. Yes, of course.
I mean, what
but-
I'm saying, if you don't have him in that movie, it's not Caddyshack. Like you know what I mean? Like Bill Murray's hilarious in it, but like he wasn't mandatory.
Sir,
Chevy
that is
Chase-
a bold
I'm
assertion you're
telling
making
you,
right now.
man. I'm just
Caddyshack without Bill Murray? You
I love
think
Bill Murray
it
in
could
telling
happen?
Caddyshack.
you, I'm telling you. I like, and dude, I treasure Bill Murray. He's a Chicagoan. He's my boy. He might as well be my next door neighbor. Guy's
just-
like my homie.
Just like the story about the Dalai Lama. Come on, Bob. You're cutting that out. You can't do. I mean, Gunga Galunga. So I got that going for me, which is nice.
Hey,
But,
Pam Coggin is in the chat. What's up, Pam?
She
Did
is.
Pam even say hi to me? Yeah, Pam. Pam is wonderful. She is wonderful. You'll meet Pam at True Crime Podcast Festival.
nice. Very cool.
Yeah, she is what was formerly Cults, Crimes, and Cabaret. It's navigating advocacy now. Advocacy now. But that's her mom. That's Whitney's mom.
Nice.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's awesome.
All right, guys. I'm gonna end this thing, and what we're gonna do is go in the portal to Steve's stream, and we're gonna like it, and get it in the algorithm, and then we're gonna watch it tonight at 9. Thank you guys so much for coming on. You're both like working all day
Dude,
today.
thanks for having me, brother.
Of course.
I'm glad this worked out. This weirdly timed worked out for me after work. That was perfect.
Yeah, it was great.
You're such a sweet guy. I wish I could give you a big hug, man.
I love you guys.
We love you guys. We love you, mods. We love you, audience. You guys are the best. Thank you, everyone.
We love you.
We'll see you tomorrow, 12:30. Keep watching this trial. Hopefully the audio is better. Take care, everybody.
Later.